Okay, so what is the moral of this story? In approaching Eurobonds, we have to be realistic. Okay, what is entailed by Eurobonds is that this pooling of debt. Eurobonds will raise interest rates on which creditworthy Euro members will pay on their debt. So countries that have been responsible, like Germany for example, will actually be paying more interest on their debt because of free riding from Greece, for example. So sovereign leaders will have to they'll have to go back to their own countries. They'll have to convince and sell this idea of Eurobonds to their respective constituents. That means their parliaments. That means their supreme courts. That also means their voters. So a country like Germany is in trouble, Angela Merkel, when she faces election next year. So in order to sell this idea, the tangibility of a Eurobond, the pooling of debt, okay, this, sharing the burden of our neighbors, there has to be in existence this notion of pan-European identity. However, when we look at Pew Research survey data results, this actually shows to be otherwise. So here we have it. Okay, prior to 2007, when everything was, rosy-eyed glasses. Okay, the rosy-eyed lenses. There was growth. There was optimism. You actually saw an increase in pan-European identity. Okay, but after 2007, after the crisis, as well as the divergence of interest rates, divergence of competitiveness, we found there's actually been this EU favorability. This idea has actually fallen off a cliff. In countries like Spain, for example, 2007, European favorability, European Union unity, okay, was at 80%. By 2012, this fell to 60%. Okay, so that's a difference of 20% between 2007 and 2012. The same follows for the Czech Republic, negative 20%. In Italy, 19%. Poland, 14%. Britain, 7%. France, 2%. And in Germany, this has stayed largely flat. So all of the countries that have not benefited from the European Union, to the extent that Germany has, have all been left with feeling that the European Union, they have been left worse off than they have without the European Union. So this idea of pan-Europeanism is slowly started to disintegrate as soon as the issues started to hit the fan. So this is a can that we can't kick down the road. Okay? If it's going to be described as a Band-Aid, then it is a Band-Aid that fosters infection, greater infection. And we see this through our presentation because of two different areas: implementation and moral hazard. Okay? Although it might help certain countries for only a certain period of time, it does not address the core issue of competitiveness. Okay, when the euro was announced in 1999, okay, prior to 1999, a lot of the countries, for example, that were in worse off positions, like Greece, are still in the same places that they are now today, after 2007. The same actors that were irresponsible in the past are irresponsible now. Having the euro and creating the Eurobond will only mask this issue. It will only be a Band-Aid, and it will do nothing in itself in order to go forward and safeguard the future. Okay, and this leads us to moral hazard if we're only masking the issue. So even if Eurobonds are implemented, there are no legal safeguards in place that will ensure a guarantee that this will be effective within 5, 10 years from now, even 2 years from now. What will change? An example of this would be going back to the Lisbon Treaty, Article of 125, which has been completely disregarded. Why take the risk of Eurobonds? Why not try something else, other alternatives, for example, austerity, which as evidenced, there can be ways of implementing austerity and coming out with positive outcomes. Thank you.